Hey guys, what's up? Man, it's hot, but glad you're tuning in to watch. A lot of effort just to be out here today in this kind of heat. Want to show you some things about reassembling one of the doors today. This is the last thing I've got to do to finish up kind of the body and interior. And when I tore the door down, I showed you how to do that, and I told you I'd show you some about assembling it. So let's do that. Right here on the makeshift table, we've got our window stops. What these do is they determine how far or how low the window rolls up before it stops. And what that is for is to make sure your window doesn't roll up so high that when you close the door it hits the top or the track and bends out. And also, if you set it wrong, you won't be able to roll the window up all the way. So when you're putting these back on, you always want to use these little lock washers, because these little machine screws will back out. And you see you have a short side here and a long side here. The long side goes up, and that gives you about a half inch of adjustability up and down. Now we take these over into the door. One of them goes here. We go like so, and then the other one goes here. And trying to figure out which one of these actually was on which side. I don't think there's any way to really tell anymore. Yep, there sure is. That rust spot right there coincides with that rub spot right there. So this would go on just like so. You put your screws in, and then the other one I already showed you there. And what you'll want to do is snug the screws up, but don't tighten them, okay? You'll want to tighten these up just enough that you can grab them with your fingers and push them and move them, but not so much that they just flop around, or not loose enough that they flop around. So you'll do that, and you'll close the door, and you'll roll the window up gently, slowly, until it makes contact with your upper metal up there, okay? Once it makes contact with that upper metal, you're going to roll it down just a hair, so that when you open the door, the top of the metal frame of the window doesn't contact that lower hanging lip. So once you do that, roll it all the way back down, and you're pretty much just going to set these where they are, because when you roll it up, they're going to hit, and because you didn't tighten them all the way up, they'll go down to where they need to be. Of course, there's the other option where you didn't have them high enough, and I should have mentioned that when you do that, you'll want to set them all the way up. That way they have no choice to go down, because if you set them like in the middle, they may not make contact at all, right? So you'll want to set them all the way up, snug them just enough that they can move and make contact. And contact up there with your frame, roll it back down. And then these will be at such an area, these will have set themselves to where you made contact with the top, okay? It will not account for that 1/16 or so that you came back down. So what you're going to want to do is move it just a hair up to account for that, and then tighten the screws. Now, another thing you can do with these, if you roll your window up and you've got a gap on one end that's not too bad, but no gap on the other, you can use these to account for that. And you can set one higher and one lower, and that way when you roll the window up and it gets to the very top, it'll cock itself to whichever way you need it. Say if the window is making contact up there, you're going to want to set this, let me think about this. I'm kind of getting talking faster than I can think. because I wasn't going to cover this part. You would want to set this lower, I think. You'll figure it out. Just, you're going to have to mess with it one way or another. So, make sure when you put your window retainers on, grease your track. I'd grease them on the back side and the front side. And right here, there's another track built into the door. So you want to get a good glob of grease on your finger and stick your hand up inside and lube the track in there as best you can. Then once you're done setting your window stops, you can put your cover back on. I did in fact get the rivets in from Big Mike for the window channel, the top of the window channel. Can you see in there? Yep, a flat rivet. What you do is you put it through the track and then you just mash it with a pair of vice grips. Unless you've got a rivet gun or something, then you can do it the aircraft mechanics way and actually power rivet it. But then you want to put your gasket on. Now if you get the two-piece gaskets, you have a long one and a short one. I've got the two-piece. There's a two-piece and a one-piece. It depends on what you get. Not all of them are always available. So you'll start with the long one. The long one goes on the outboard side of the door and it hangs, as you see. The long one covers the outside of the door and the bottom of the door. Now what I do is you start with the very top and you make it flush or just a little below flush so it doesn't rub when you shut the door. You shove it in behind the latch guide here and it'll stay. It'll stay so you can make your other adjustments once you've got that where you want it. And you come down here and you've got to make a notch. So what you want to do is follow, if it'll focus, follow the line, a 45-degree angle of the seam, the weld seam there, and make a cut and then make an opposite angle. That way you can fold the gasket, because otherwise if you just try to make that bend, it'll bow out and it'll roll here and you'll never get it to seal or align right. And you'll go along the other end and you can do the same thing over here, or because it is a little long, it is long enough to stick fast, you can leave it just like that. And you can take your other shorter gasket, which is only a little bit longer than the door is tall. See there? You can do the same thing with it and just cut it short so it sits on top of the tail you left sticking out down there. Now when you put these gaskets in, they're kind of a K shape. See that? This 45-degree bevel, that goes in. That goes in this corner right here. So when you look down on the door, and this lighting and focus and everything is just terrible today. It should look something like that. I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you can. It doesn't look like it's focusing, but I can't tell sometimes. So yeah. It is nice and a good idea if your door is old and your weather strip clips are old and nasty and crusty like these ones. Get some new ones from Big Mike. I got 5 new ones for this door because my other door was already, brand new, right? So I only needed 5 per door, and usually they come in a pack of 10, but since I only asked for 5, he sent me 5. Man, focus, you turd. There's your part number. So you call up bigmikesmotorpole.com or email him or get on his website and order. This is what you need for the clips to hold the weather strip onto the door. And you're mounting these holes right here with the little screws. Some of these didn't come with them. Some are just glued on, but pretty much they go on just like that, right? And they hold the weather strip in place to assist the glue. So they've got these little nubs on them Anyway, yeah, you get the idea. So I'm still waiting for primer to dry on the screws for those, so I'm just kind of thought I'd make a video and walk you through what you need to do with this stuff, because I can't do anything at the moment. So yeah, but we've got let's see, show you what we've got done. We've got the front end assembled, got the grill and all on, rubber bumpers on the hood. Everything up here is done. I need to put the winch back on eventually, but it's been sitting over there since I tore everything down. I haven't moved it, haven't touched it. I need to clean it up and strip it and paint it at least. But I've got the bridge plate sandblasted and primed and painted, and I've got some self-etching primer on this, on the aluminum. I use self-etching primer. So once I get that painted, I'm going to put the bridge plate back on, but it's not going to go on the grill where it was before. It used to be right here. I'm going to put it probably down here because I need more airflow through that intercooler, and I don't want a 7-inch round, freaking 8-inch round plate right there over the heart of it. So yeah, so I think that's about all I got for you today, guys. Not really that in-depth of a video, but I told you I'd do it, and I'm just getting around to it. So apologize for it took me so long to get around to this point, but I'm kind of running around with my hair on fire with this project. So appreciate you watching. Appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to check out our sponsors, both listed in the description box below. As always, it's BigMike'sMotorPool.com and RapcoParts.com. That's where we get all of our paint from. So they support us, and I appreciate if you'd support them, and that will help support us. So give them a shout if you need something. Later, dudes.